Welcome to Fortress of Faith with Tom Wallace, calling North America to repentance and revival.
Welcome back again to the Corner of Truth and Courage. You're listening to Fortress of Faith. This is Tom Wallace, and today I want to continue with our 45 goals that the Communist Party in America set back in the 60s. Now, this comes out of the famous book, The Naked Communist, written by Cleon Skousen, who was one of the FBI agents assigned to acknowledging or producing to America the information that they were getting about the goals of the Communist Party to destroy America from within. Skousen wrote his book, The Naked Communist, meaning we're going to expose them, bare everything that we know, so you in America are aware of the enemy's effort to destroy us. And some of the goals of the 45 dealt with the nuclear race that was going on. Some of them were date-sensitive, that was going on in the 50s and 60s. Of these 45 goals, many of them were ideologies that would take years to unfold, and they are in force today. And we're going to cover them, more of them. We started yesterday. If you didn't catch it, you can join us at fortressfaith.com. You can always go back to our former broadcast and listen to them, share them with your friends. We encourage you to do that so that they too are aware. Now, why do we do that here? Well, because I have been warning for a number of years, well over a decade now, came off the mission field to warn America that I believe God is judging our country for our national sins. And Islam is one of those instruments of that judgment. And so the doctrines of the founder of the Muslims is an ideology that is poisonous to our way of life, to our freedoms, to our religion, to our faith as Christians. A man claiming to be a prophet wasn't one. But we need to protect ourselves from this ideology. But there's another doctrine, and that is this doctrine of Marxism, coming from Karl Marx, which born us communism and socialism. By the way, Karl Marx believed that the step from capitalism to communism was too great. So you had to have a middle step to come away from capitalism into communism. That middle step is socialism. And so socialism is what a certain party is telling us we need in our country, what our kids are being taught. So let's go through these goals. Goal number 13. The first 12 are, mainly dealing with the nuclear war, race, and all that stuff, and some of that was time sensitive. Number 13 was gain control of the media. Well, they've certainly done that. Number 15, capture both parties. Yes, they've done that. Well, at least one of the parties for sure, and they're making their efforts. In number 17, to get control of schools, to use them as transmission belts for socialism and their communist propaganda. Number 19, use student riots to foment public protest against programs. And so those are the ones that we covered yesterday. Number 20, infiltrate the press. Well, have they succeeded in that? Yeah, absolutely, just about. Every major media organization in print, in television, in radio, you name it, has been infiltrated by these ideologies that we're going through. Oh, number 13 was do away with loyalty oaths. They want to take away our foundations of what we pledge our allegiance to. Well, man, we don't stand for the flag. Many schools today, they have the Pledge of Allegiance, although legally it is still happening, but no one does it. It's just repeated over the sound system there, and many of the people in the classes don't give any attention to it. A complete disrespect has been born into our schools, and they've gotten control of at least one of the political parties. By the way, let me get on my rant here for a minute there. We Christians only have ourselves to blame in America, and I would say this is probably true in Canada and England and many other countries there, about voting. According to the stats, in the last general election here in the United States, of Christians registered to vote, half of Christians in our churches today are registered to vote. Only 50% of church attenders are actually registered to vote. If 100% were registered and 100% voted, we would control every election in this country. We would have an overwhelming voice, even though there are more registered Democrats in the country than there are Republicans. I'm not saying Republicans is the right party, but when we look at the two sides of this there, if we were all registered to vote and all voted, we could control every election, every one. But the fact is only 50% of church attenders are registered. Then when it comes time to cast the vote, only 50% of them bother to get up and go. We have such an apathetic attitude towards what's going on in our government that we don't think our vote counts. Well, individually it doesn't, but collectively it does. And if we will take charge and get on the ball and do what should be our citizen duty, we could make a change there. So infiltrate the press, infiltrate the media, take over the political party. Number 22. By the way, let me go back to 21. Control the media. This idea that when truth is spoken, they quickly claim it as a false narrative, as fake news. And the fact is what they are spouting is the lie, is the poison, is the stuff that needs to be kept out. But with freedom of speech, lies can be freely told. But when it's been told by people that you trust, you begin to believe the lie. This is a powerful step, powerful goal, and they have succeeded, and it's dangerous. And why? Why is this all happening? God is bringing our demise, bringing our own destruction. Because of our foolishness, we're allowing it to happen, even with Christians. We could stand up and do something about it. We could speak up, make a change in our government, make a change in our nation, but we foolishly shrug our shoulders and hang our heads saying these things are terrible, someone should do something about it, and we distract ourselves with whatever else we can distract ourselves with so we don't have to face the facts of what's going on. Number 22. Continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. I did not realize this in the next one. Let me give you 22 because they go together. Eliminate all good sculptures from parks and buildings. Substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. 23 goes along with it as well. Control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. Now, I had no idea that these were some of their goals that they set out until I read this book here a few years ago. And it just, I noticed, like everyone else had, how stupid art is today and how ugly it is and meaningless it is. And I had no idea that there was a directive, there was a goal, there was a design to bring that into our nation. And why do they want to do that? They believe that if we become accustomed to blah, to repulsiveness, ugliness, it'll be easier for us to live in it. If our eyes do not understand and behold beauty anymore, if we cannot captivate and imagine the beauty of God's creation, because God, what He gave us, is so beautiful. When we get out from the cities and the concrete and all the straight lines and the blockiness and stuff, and get into nature and enjoy. I grew up as a kid in the city. I've always lived around millions of people. Growing up in Britain, I had about 3 or 4 million people within a 30-mile radius of where I lived. It was crowded. We lived in the concrete jungle, and yet Britain did very well at preserving its green bands and green boundaries and stuff, and it didn't take far to get into the countryside. But I never paid attention to the beauty of God's creation and the changing of the seasons and the flowers budding and stuff until I started reaching into my 30s and 40s, and I missed so much of that in my childhood, and I regret that. God gave us a beautiful, beautiful world to to enjoy, and man wants to destroy it. The devil wants to destroy everything that God created. Everything that God created was good and beautiful and had order and design and peace and stuff. But when sin comes in, when the devil comes in, it brings destruction. It brings corruption. It brings death. And that's exactly where these goals are guiding us in America, to bring death to our nation. We used to be God-honoring, God-fearing, and we don't fear God anymore. Well, I'm going to stop there because I need to take a little bit of time to remind you we're in our spring fundraising campaign, and it's essential that we reach our goal this spring. Our goal is $25,000. And would you help us with a donation? Maybe you've never given to any ministry before, but maybe God is connecting with you with our broadcast, and maybe you are saying, man, I agree with this, and I'm thankful it's on the radio. Well, without people supporting it, it can't be there, and because it does cost. It doesn't just magically appear. It magically appears for you. You just simply turn on your car or turn on your radio, and bang, it's there. It's magic for you. It's there, appears. But it takes money to get it to you. And would you help us maybe be a first-time donor in your life? Maybe you've never donated to any radio ministry before in your life, and today could be that day. We'd be blessed by your help. Whatever size of amount you can help us with, we would be grateful. It all adds up. If many people give, it helps us reach our goal. Here's the number, 1-800-616-0082. A lot of easy numbers there. 800-616-0082. You can always give safely, securely online on our website, fortressoffaith.com. or .org, it's the same site, fortressoffaith.com. And find the giving area there. And you can set up, by the way, a regular donation. And that helps us tremendously when people do that. It helps us with our cash flow. It helps us with our budget when we know we have a certain amount of money being donated coming in each month there. That can make a tremendous help to us there. And maybe you want to give by check. If you go to our website, you can find our address or give us a call. We'll be glad to give that to you. Don't want to take airtime to do that. But get in touch with us, and we'd be glad to talk to you about sending us a check, giving you the address. And we're grateful for those who have already given, for those who are going to give. And we're just trusting in God in all this. And let me say this, too. Maybe you might say, we've had this happen last year, a listener remembered us in her will and instructed her lawyers to give some, X amount percentage to Fortress of Faith, and some went to some other ministries. And what a blessing that is when that happens. And maybe God might lay that on your heart to give a legacy donation through doing it that way. All right, well, we've got to stop there. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue more with these 45 goals that an enemy has desired to destroy us from within. You need to be aware of them and see that this is happening, and so we can take a stand against it. That's it today. Join us again tomorrow at the Corner of Truth and Courage. God bless you.